What's up, sports bettors? Alex here, and it's a little bit lighter of a day with no NBA games, but I'm going to be taking you through another 5-pick flex that I have on PrizePicks. And as I always say, in these videos, the point of these videos is obviously to give you guys profitable picks, but to also explain to you how to become a sharp bettor, how to make more money sports betting. So one of the main tools that I use, right, when I'm looking for plays on PrizePicks is what's called the OddsJam screen. So with this, tool, you can essentially go to any league you want and then any market. So if you want to browse NHL shot on goal, typically what I'm doing is I'm looking for discrepancies first between PrizePicks and Underdog, right? These platforms work in almost identical ways. So typically when there's a discrepancy between PrizePicks and Underdog, there's some value, right? Because these platforms are almost replicas of each other. But regardless, I didn't find a ton of value in the NHL, but what I did end up finding is this tennis play. So you can see right here in Baena versus Cressy, right? So you can see Baena versus Cressy. PrizePicks has the line at 23 total games, and then all of the sports books have the line at 22.5, right? So that's the first thing you're gonna notice, and I just put a box on it on Twitter to make it a little more clear. I give out all of my PrizePicks plays on Twitter, as well as almost all of my bets in general. But long story short, you can see PrizePicks, they have their line at 23, right? All of the sports books have the line lower at 22.5. And what you're also going to notice is all of these bookmakers, right? They have the under favored, right? They have the under 22.5 games favored. On FanDuel, the under 22.5 is minus 118. The over is only minus 112. So you can see lines are juiced towards the under 22.5 games. On Pinnacle, right here, the under is minus 113. So again, lines are juiced towards the under. So every single sportsbook has the under favored. So basically, PrizePicks is at 23. All the books are at 22.5. And they're also saying, the under 22.5 is the favored outcome, the more likely outcome. So PrizePicks is too high, right? They're an inefficiency in the market. Their line should be at 22.5. So we have numerous data points. All these sports books posting odds are telling us, this line should be at 22.5 and the under should be favored, and we're able to get under 23. So clearly a lot of value there. So that's the first play I went with. So typically then, after the screen or before the screen, order doesn't really matter, I switch over to the positive EV tool. So all this tool does, right, is unlike the screen. So when you're looking at the screen, it's a bit more manual work. You're looking for discrepancies and where are sportsbooks setting the line. So here you can see PrizePicks is at 23. All the books are at 22.5 with the under favored. So we're looking at, all the data in the market for tennis total games. So it's clear PrizePicks is too high. Their line is too high, right? Their line is too high. The line's at 23 on PrizePicks, 22.5 on all the books. We want to take the under. The EV tool works differently, right? The EV tool compares where books are setting the line at the same level, right? So you can see right here, first, the most profitable play currently available, for the settings I have, which is just typically I just play around with the sports books I'm using. I mainly use the main books in videos, FanDuel, DraftKings, PrizePicks, because most people have access to them. So you can see the highest profit margin play is actually on FanDuel. For the Orioles game tonight, over 9.5 total runs right here, right? But on PrizePicks, that's the second most profitable play for the books I use, a 3% profit margin. And you can see it's the first inning total runs under half of a total run, right? So the under half of a total run in the first inning is also referred to as NRFI, no runs first inning. So under half of a total run, no runs first inning, NRFI, whatever. But long story short, the reason you want to go with this play is all of the sports books. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You have all these sports books. I mean, numerous data points, and this is just New York sports books. So you have numerous data points, like, 12 data points, all telling you, the NRFI, the under half of a first inning total run, should be the favored outcome. It should be a heavy favorite. All the books have the under heavily juiced, right? And a lot of people, this is confusing. How do sports books relate to, win probabilities? Why is the under more likely? And I'll give you a simple example, right? Today, UConn, if we take a look at the odds, and you can follow the line movements as well just by, clicking on any odd on OddsJam. So you can see UConn is unsurprisingly, for the national championship, they've been blowing everyone out. They're favored, right? They're a big favorite. They're minus 300, minus 400, so a 3-1 favorite, 3-1 favorite, 3/4 to win, 75% win probability according to the books, right? Some books have them closer to, minus 400. Minus 400, 4-1 favorite, 4/5 to win, 80% win probability, right? So essentially, all the sports books, through their odds are telling you UConn's a lot more likely to win. Well, it's no different here, right? All the sports books have the under as the favorite outcome. So you have numerous data points, sports books that have invested, hundreds of millions of dollars in their ability to set lines. All these books are telling you the same thing. The under should be favored. The nerfy is the heavily favored outcome, right? And I say this all the time, but that's what you're, maximizing for on PrizePicks. You want your plays to be favored, right? Like you want all the sports books to be telling you, yo, the under's a lot more likely than the over, or the over is a lot more likely than the under. So what OddsJam is doing is pretty simple, right? It's pulling in all these odds from sports books. Again, no NBA today, all these lines from the MLB, college basketball, everything, and showing you where there's value. That's literally all the tool does. It compares the lines on PrizePicks to the lines on sportsbooks, right? And it tells you, hey, here's where, the sportsbooks have an under or a nerfy or an over, a yerfy, yes run first inning, heavily favored. And in this case, it's the nerfy and Guardians Athletics, right? This isn't an emotional bet. This isn't an emotional play. I'm looking for spots where the books have the under really heavily favored. And again, books set lines independently. So you never know exactly, what's the perfect odds on the under. You're never going to get an answer to that question. But you can see all the books have the under favored. FanDuel has the under a little more juiced than, DraftKings, right? So FanDuel's saying, yo, the under, the nerfy, is more likely than DraftKings is. So FanDuel's model is predicting that the nerfy is more likely than DraftKings model as reflected through their odds. Right? It's kind of like if you ask someone, how much would you pay for this car? If someone says $10,000, someone says $9,000, obviously the person who says $10,000 is valuing that car more, right? They think it's worth more. It's the same thing here, right? FanDuel is saying, yo, the under should be more juiced than DraftKings is saying. So FanDuel is saying the under is more likely than DraftKings is. Right? So you look through all these odds, Bet Online is a really sharp offshore sports book. So is Bovada. So you kind of look through all these, lines, and it becomes pretty clear that, getting minus 119 in a 5 flex or getting a play that's very likely to win, in this case, the under, that's going to be great in our 5 flex, and that's why it's a profitable pick. So OddsJam just points out the most profitable plays, again, in order of profit margin. So then you can see Clayton Keller. In this case, it's the over. Right? I'm literally just following the data. All the sports books here, they have the over for Keller, heavily favored. The profit margin slightly lower, 3%, 1.9%, but 3% is really high, right? Like, you have to remember, this game is today. If you could get a 3% profit margin or edge on all your plays every day, 3% a day is 90% a month. So your bankroll, it compounds quickly in sports betting. Just think about it. If your ROI betting on the MLB is 1%, there's 162, 182, whatever games in the regular season. So even if you just had a 1% edge profit margin over the books, ROI, however you want to think about it, over the course of a season, your bankroll would be going up 162, 182% because there's so many, games. So long story short, Keller over. And then just, literally following the data. Lower profit margin, Hunter Brown over 5.5 strikeouts. Reed Detmers over 5.5 strikeouts as well. Here's my play right here. Reed Detmers over 5.5 Ks. Hunter Brown over 5.5 Ks. No run first inning in Athletics Guardians. Keller over 2.5 shots on goal. And then this play from the screen. Baena under 23 games. Let's get it. Let's make money. As always, feel free to reach out to me with any questions.